The votes were in, the polls were closed, their fate was sealed, and they were about to open the document to find out which one of the audience had correctly predicted which guy would absolutely wreck her. Hands shook with anticipation, the moment feeling almost absurd, like it was a competition on a reality TV show waiting for the host to open the envelope. The page was refreshed to what felt like 1,000,000 times. The analytics were a shocker, undeniable, and merciless. The numbers didn't lie, and the audience, they had really done it. The winner, by a landslide, was Mateo. I mean, was there ever any doubt? The guy literally breathes main character, villain energy. You all saw the red flags from space, and you were right. Congrats, I guess. Your collective intuition is terrifying. So, here we go, the story of how Mateo betrayed her. Strap in, it's a long one, and she's still not okay. Back to Kelly, I guess.
It happened 2 nights ago. The setup was actually perfect, which makes it so much worse. It was one of those nights that felt like it was ripped straight from one of our early dates. He texted me out of the blue with a single message, "Get dressed, I'm outside, adventure time." And like an idiot, my heart did a little flip. This is exactly what I fell for. The spontaneity, the drama, the feeling that real life just hit pause and we were in our own movie. I threw on a hoodie and jeans and ran downstairs. He was leaning against his car, looking unfairly good in the streetlight, and he just smiled that slow, secret smile that always felt like it was just for me. He didn't say where we were going. We just drove with the windows down, music blasting some indie band I'd never heard of. He reached over and held my hand, his thumb tracing circles on my skin, and I felt that stupid, hopeful feeling bubble up. Maybe things were okay. Maybe all the mystery was just Mateo being Mateo. We ended up at this cliffside overlook about an hour out of the city. It's this super secret spot he found forever ago. You can see the entire skyline. It's breathtaking. He had a blanket in the trunk and everything. He's spreading it out and I'm thinking, wow, he's being so romantic. Maybe he's going to define the relationship. Maybe this is it. We're lying there, looking at the stars, not talking. It was comfortable. Then his phone buzzed. Not a ring, just a vibration. And I felt him tense up, like his whole body went rigid next to me. He pulled it out of his pocket to silence it, but I saw it. The screen lit up his face, and it wasn't on Do Not Disturb, and the name wasn't just a letter. It was a name, a full female name, Elena. And right below the name, the preview of the text message, it said, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, baby. Flight lands at 3. Love you." I froze. My brain short-circuited. It was like the entire world just screeched to a halt. The music from the car was still playing, but it sounded like it was underwater. He saw me see it. He jerked the phone away, but it was too late. The damage was done. The look on his face wasn't even panic at first. It was just annoyance, like I'd interrupted something. "Who is Elena?" My voice didn't even sound like mine. It was this tiny, shaky thing. He sighed. He actually sighed, like I was being difficult. "Kelly, it's not what you think. It says love you," I said, my voice getting a little stronger. "It says baby. What exactly is it then? Is she your sister? Your cousin? Your long-lost platonic bestie who calls you baby?" He ran a hand through his hair, looking out at the city lights instead of at me. It's complicated. Uncomplicate it for me, Mateo. Right now." I was sitting up now, pulling my knees to my chest. The romantic night air suddenly felt cold, and then he just started talking, and it was worse than anything I could have made up. Elena isn't an ex. She's his fiancée. They've been together for 4 years. She's been doing a year-long work stint in London. The mysterious trips he'd take, going to see her. The phone always on Do Not Disturb. So her messages wouldn't pop up when he was with me. The vague past? Couldn't talk about his life because his entire life for the past 4 years involved a whole other person he'd never mentioned. I just sat there, listening to him casually unravel our entire relationship. He talked about it like he was explaining a mildly inconvenient work project. He said he loved her, but that things had gotten stale. He said I was a breath of fresh air. He said he never meant for it to go this far, but that he got caught up with me. I was a distraction, a fun, chaotic side quest while his main character was waiting for her flight back home. I was the other woman and I didn't even know it. The worst part? The absolute worst part? When he finished, he looked at me with those deep, soulful eyes and had the audacity to say, "What we had was real, though. You know that, right?" I think I actually laughed. It was a hollow, broken sound. Had? We have nothing. We never had anything. It was all a lie. You're a liar. I stood up, my legs wobbly. Take me home, right now. The car ride back was the most silent, suffocating hour of my entire life. He tried to talk a few times, saying stupid things like, "I never wanted to hurt you." And I just stared out the window, tears streaming down my face silently. I didn't want him to see me cry. I didn't want to give him that. He dropped me off outside my apartment. He said my name, and I just got out, slammed the door, and walked inside without looking back. So yeah, that's the tea. That's the betrayal. You all were right. The mystery wasn't a tragic backstory, it was just a bunch of lies. The intense, soulful looks were probably him calculating how to keep his story straight. The midnight adventures were just him filling time until his real life started again. I spent all yesterday in bed. I cried. I ate an entire box of cereal straight from the box. I watched sad animal reunions on YouTube and cried harder. I felt so stupid, so used. But today I'm just angry. I'm furious. He doesn't get to be the sad, mysterious boy anymore. He's just a cheater, a liar, and I was his puppet. The plot twist you all voted for? Delivered. My heart is officially in pieces on the floor. So now what? I have no idea. Do I tell Leo? Do I let Jamie know the girl he's been talking to is freshly traumatized? Do I just hide in my room for a month? I guess that's up to me now. The audience participation part of this nightmare is over. Now I actually have to deal with the consequences. Thanks for the chaos, I guess. I'm gonna go scream into a pillow now. Okay, so it's been a week, a full 7 days of crying, rage cleaning my apartment, and listening to Olivia Rodrigo on a loop so loud my neighbors probably think I'm summoning a demon. The initial shock has worn off, and now I'm just tired. Like my soul needs a 3-year nap. The texts from Mateo started coming in 2 days after the reveal. A classic barrage of "I'm so sorry" and "I never meant to hurt you," and the one that really sent me, "You have to understand how complicated my situation is. Sir, your situation is that you had a whole entire fiancé. That is not complicated. That is just being a terrible person." I didn't reply, not a single word. I just screenshotted them all, sent them to my best friend with the caption, "Can you believe the audacity?" and blocked his number. Bye, Felipe. But the weirdest thing happened in the middle of all this mess. Leo knew. I don't know how, but he just knew. He didn't ask for details. He didn't press. He just showed up at my door on day 3 with my exact Starbucks order, venti iced caramel macchiato, extra shot, light ice, and a bag of those ridiculously expensive gummy bears I like, but never buy for myself. He didn't try to hug me. He didn't ask what happened. He just walked in, went to my kitchen, and started unloading the bag. He'd also gotten those weirdly good pita chips and my favorite fancy hummus. He put it all on a plate and brought it to me on the couch. Then he put on Brooklyn Nine-Nine because he knows it's my comfort show and sat on the far end of the couch scrolling on his phone. He gave me space to be a mess. He didn't try to fix it. He just made sure I was fed and that I wasn't alone. It was 2 hours before I even spoke. The episode ended and the silence settled, and I just started talking. It all came out in a jumbled, tearful mess. The lookout, the text, the name Elena, the fiancé, the 4 years, the London trips, the breath of fresh air comment, everything. He listened. He didn't interrupt once. When I was finally done, empty and exhausted, he put his phone down and looked at me. "Okay," he said, his voice calm and steady. "First of all, that's the most unhinged thing I've ever heard. Secondly, and most importantly, you deserve so much better than that, Kel. That's not how you treat someone you care about. That's not complicated. That's just shitty." He didn't trash talk Mateo. He didn't give me a lecture. He just validated my reality. And in that moment, it was the single most romantic thing anyone had ever done for me. And Jamie, sweet, sunny Jamie. He texted me too, checking in. He'd heard through the messy, small world grapevine that something had happened. He was genuinely kind about it, and part of me wondered if maybe that sunny, uncomplicated energy was exactly what I needed. I thought about it. I really did. I went on one coffee date with him after I'd stopped crying every hour, and it was Nice. It was fine. He was still his adorable, chaotic self, telling a funny story about spilling coffee on himself this time. I laughed, but I also realized something huge. My entire world had just been set on fire and put out, and I was fundamentally a different person than I was a month ago. I'm not the girl who met Jamie in a coffee shop anymore. I'm Kel, post-Heartbreak edition. And Jamie? He deserves the girl who can match his brand new sparkling energy. He deserves someone who isn't secretly comparing every interaction to a past trauma. He deserves a clean slate. I realized choosing him wouldn't be fair to either of us. It would be me trying to use his sunshine as a band-aid, and he's worth so much more than that. So I told him the truth. I said I thought he was amazing, but that my heart was a construction zone, and it wasn't a good place for anyone to be right now. He was so understanding about it, which just proves he's a literal angel, and someone is going to be so lucky to have him. Letting Jamie go felt like the first truly solid, mature decision I'd made in this whole mess. It was me choosing what was right over what was easy or distracting, and that clarity made the next choice obvious, which left Leo steady, constant, seen it all before Leo. That night, after the Fry date, I went over to his place. It was a Tuesday. There was no plan, no big speech rehearsed in my head. He was making spaghetti, something he's done 1,000,000 times. The kitchen smelled like garlic and tomatoes. I wandered in, stole a piece of shredded cheese from the bag, and hopped up on the counter to watch him. It was so profoundly normal. He was telling me a long, detailed story about his coworker's cat who had learned how to open cabinets, and he was gesturing with the wooden spoon, and I just watched him. I watched the way his brow furrowed in concentration when he tasted the sauce. I watched the way his t-shirt stretched across his shoulders. I listened to the familiar, calming rhythm of his voice. And it hit me, not like a lightning bolt, but like a sunrise. Slow and warm and inevitable. This wasn't boredom. This was peace. This was trust. This was knowing that I could have snot running down my face and he wouldn't care. This was knowing he'd seen me at my absolute worst and hadn't run for the hills. He wasn't my safe harbor. He was my home. And I'd been so busy looking for a thrilling storm to ride that I'd forgotten the pure joy of being home. The drama I'd craved with Mateo was just anxiety dressed up in a romantic costume. This was real. I hopped off the counter. "Hey," I said, my voice a little shaky, "I need to say something." He turned down the stove, giving me his full attention. "Yeah? Does it need more garlic?" "I feel like it needs more garlic." I shook my head, a small smile breaking through. "No, it's not about the garlic." I took a breath. I think I've been so obsessed with finding a story worth telling that I completely ignored the best story I'm already in. I got so addicted to the plot twist that I didn't realize the best part of the movie was the person standing next to me the whole time. I looked him right in the eye. "After all that mess, you're the one who feels like my person. Not because it's easy, but because it's real. And I'm sorry it took me nearly getting vaporized by a human lie to see it." He was quiet for a second, just looking at me. Then that slow, crinkly-eyed smile I love so much spread across his face. "Took you long enough to figure that out," he said, his voice soft. "I've known since you tried to build that IKEA bookshelf upside down." He pulled me into a hug, and it didn't feel like fireworks. It felt like finally exhaling. So yeah, that's the choice. It's not the wild, dramatic ending you might have voted for. There's no grand gesture, no passionate makeup scene. It's quieter than that. It's two people choosing each other, clearly and consciously, in the quiet aftermath of a storm. It's choosing the person who brings you gummy bears and doesn't need you to explain your pain. It's choosing the story that's built to last, not the one that burns bright and fast and leaves you in ashes. For the first time in a long time, my life doesn't feel like a content feed for other people. It just feels like mine, and it feels really, really good. Thanks for everything, guys. Seriously. Now, if you'll excuse me, my boyfriend's spaghetti is ready and it smells amazing.